And while we're on that, it is Ask Wit Wednesday. So we were doing a count this morning. Since last Friday, we have had 28 people, I believe, that have sent us messages between the two of us that have asked this same question. And really the question is, how do I know it's worth the $9.97? Okay. And I'm going to be candid here. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I need you to pull up your bootstraps and get a
Put your big girl panties on.
Tough skin for just a minute. Okay. We should be embarrassed to sell it for this price. Yeah. Okay. If this was about the money for us and this was the only way we were making our living and we weren't out doing deals and that was our primary source of income right now,
we'd have to charge 10 grand.
Well, I don't know about that. We could do a little bit better. But here's the deal. Okay. All of this information that we have was gathered one of two ways, okay? A lot of it we were taught, okay? We didn't come up with the concept of lease options or subject to or owner financing, right? Those have been around for a long time, but a lot of people don't know about it. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so we learned it, okay? And we learned it by signing up for a course. Now,
and going to boot camps.
We went the classroom training type where you got a book and you got to do that. And let me tell you, both times we did that, we were going in and our pencils was like smoke coming off of them because we were trying to absorb it, right? We didn't have videos that we could just pause and write something down real quick and then keep going and watch it over again and things like that. We didn't have that, right? We had the material.
And we paid what?
And it was good.
$3,000 a weekend?
Yeah, that was $3,000 up front. And then, and then we opted for a little bit of extra help, right? We got into the material and we said, this is a lot and I can do this step by step, but to get through all of this stuff and do it, that's likely going to take me 3 or 4 months. And I want to do it now. Right? So we chose to go with the more personal attention route and things like that, right? But by the time it was all said and done, Whitney spent over 15 grand on this information, okay, that she got. There are tons of things here that we've given that we've learned on our own. So
we've developed on our own
material, right? So you've got all that. Same thing for me. I kind of piggybacked on what she learned with the houses, but when I decided I was going to go do apartments, I tried on my own. Even though I knew how to do houses, I didn't know how to do apartments because I didn't understand the language difference. We could use the same concepts in terms of lease options and owner financing and subject to and things like that, but I didn't know what a cap rate was. And I didn't know what a cash on cash return was. And I didn't know what debt service coverage ratio and all those things that people were talking about. I just didn't know. It went over my head. So I said, I got to get myself educated, right? So the same thing. I plopped down money and went to learn, okay? And I spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And was it worth it? Absolutely, it was worth it. It was worth what I spent. But we took a step back and said, everybody can't or won't spend that type of money, okay? So we realize that. So, we are doing this at a more reasonable offer. And here's the kicker, guys, okay? Here's the kicker. If you don't have financial stake in this, you are not going to do it. You may try, but when you fail, it's going to be because you didn't give it your best effort, okay? That's just the way we are, and a lot of times we learn that lesson early on. So I'll give you a real example. I started getting bikes from Santa Claus when I was about 3 or 4 years old, right? The first ones had training wheels, and then as I grew, they grew. But I was pretty hard on them. I didn't always put them in the garage, and I didn't always wipe them down after I'd ridden them through a mud puddle. It was Santa Claus, right? Santa Claus gave them to me. I didn't have any stake in that game. Well, when I was 8 years old, I got a new bike for Christmas, but it wasn't like the really cool bike that I should have asked for that some of my friends got, okay? So my parents made a deal with me. They said, here's the deal, okay? We'll buy you this bike, but you have to use your money, okay? So I took some of the money I had, And then I had chores. I did chores for not only my parents, I did it for my grandparents. I did chores for people that we went to church with. I raked a hell of a lot of pine straw, guys, over like 2 months. I really did. And so I finally got the money up, and we went down to the True Value hardware store, and I bought the bike that I wanted. And you know what? I actually took care of it. I put it in the garage. I wiped the seat down. As a matter of fact, when I got done with it, we actually handed that down to my little cousin. It looked largely like it did the day that I got it, and I'd ridden it for 2 years. But it was because I had a stake in the game. And I don't care if you listen to Tony Robbins or whatever life coach or mentor or successful person you talk about, they will talk about investing in themselves and having skin in the game. If you don't have the skin in the game, your chances of making it are minuscule. Maybe you're that one that's out of the ordinary that just has what it takes, or maybe you lucked into it, or maybe there were circumstances that caused you to have an unusual drive or something like that. But for most people out there, and here's kind of how I've responded, okay? Especially for the people that have tried it on their own and for whatever reason they haven't made it. There's a reason you haven't made it, okay? And it's not because you're not capable.
No.
It's not because of that, all right? It may not even be because you lacked all the knowledge. You may even have enough knowledge to get down the road, but you don't have that motivation. And that's why we created the Facebook group, right? It's that motivation is people on a similar journey that are sitting there cheering each other on. When you have one bad day or you don't feel like following up leads, you know, if you're working the 9 to 5 and you're doing this part-time, life happens, guys. You know, the kids get sick and the kids have puked all over the place. And now you're worried about getting that same stomach virus, and your boss is riding you at work, and you got to do the dishes and you got your clothes. How are you possibly going to fit real estate investing in, right? There's people there that are on the same journey and they're having similar obstacles. And they may just need that little pick-me-up that says, hey, sorry you had a bad day. Hope tomorrow's better. Let's go get them, right? It's that sort of thing. The information's great, but information alone will not get you there. You need the motivation, you need the drive, and most importantly, you got to have skin in the game. And for most people, somewhere around $1,000 is enough skin in the game for them to actually take action, all right? And so that is the reason that, you know, we came up with the course. Like I said, for those of you that watched one of the ones we did earlier, it was originally $12.97, and then we kind of went down to the $9.97 and some things like that. But if you're wondering, you know, is it worth it? Again, are you ready to get started? If you're serious about it, it's absolutely for you. If you're not going to do the work, I'm going to tell you right now, leave your card in your wallet. Don't buy it if you're not going to do anything, because it's not going to help you. But if you're ready to get started, or you've tried to get started in the past and for whatever reason you didn't do it, this is your ticket, okay?
I've never heard that story about the bike before.
Well, you don't know everything. I mean, I was around a long time before you came into the picture. So,
all right. So
as a matter of fact, I've got a cool picture too. We had an owl that he didn't really become our pet, right? Because we weren't doing that stuff. But I had an owl that would come and it would light on my bicycle handle, but it had to be in a certain spot in the garage. Remind me, I got a picture somewhere. I'll show you that. Pretty cool.